and we're still working that out, which equipment to purchase, because we'd like to load the GIS map on that piece of equipment, so that an operator would have the entire map and access to functioning the telemetry system.
So that would be a piece of equipment that would travel with whoever was on emergency duty. It wouldn't
On
be like
call.
everybody, whoever's on call.
It's yet to be determined. I mean, I guess it depends on the piece of equipment. Right now, the ranging cost is between $500 and $800. Northline GIS is doing some research on which of these devices, iPad-like devices, would hold the map, and the access to the telemetry is not a big deal. But the component of holding the map is a much bigger issue, because if we use ArcGIS, then there's another licensing fee that we have to deal with, so it could get expensive, and so we're looking for the most efficient, cost-effective way to provide the on-call operator with a map of the system and remote access to the SCADA telemetry operation.
That's great.
So that's where we're at today. Item E, review and consider approval of proposal by WSB Computer Service for server upgrade. So just FYI, the server's useful life has been exceeded by about 2 years. We've waited as long as we can, and that's WSB's strategy. They want to get as much as we can out of the equipment, but it is time.
Yeah.
So in conjunction with that, they have strongly recommended that we add cooling to the server
Yeah, I
room.
saw that. Yeah.
And so I've had Vindola come and take a look, and they'll have a proposal on the cooling, and then we can deal with that. But we do need to cool the space in order to preserve the operating conditions, or make them ideal in that room, because it's very hot.
What
We
room
did
is
get a
that?
proposal.
It's a
didn't
locked
we?
door right behind front desk number 1
Uh-huh.
in that hallway. There's a nice middle door with a
Okay.
vault, and it's relatively secure.
Just for future reference when I want to come, mess with it.
If you get cold, you can get warm in
Yeah,
the
you
room.
can go in there.
So that's where we're at.
And is that a budgeted item, is what we're?
I think that we did have a significant number in our computers, and with the cooling, I think we'll probably end up exceeding that, but
So is this the WSB?
yeah.
Yes.
It
825?
What's that, AJ?
will exceed the budget. So for computers and media, we budgeted 2,000.
Right.
For computer support, we budgeted 2,000. So, this is, if we go over budget in that line item, it's just something where we'll need to keep an eye
Sure.
on the overall budget, carefully year to date to make sure that our bottom line is.
Yeah, because if we budgeted
12,000.
2,000 and this is 12,000, and it's
Not
gonna be
including
more.
cooling.
Not including cooling. So was this not anticipated? It's early in the year, so I'm just wondering,
I think we were overly optimistic. We knew that eventually it was going to have to be replaced.
Right.
And in an effort to make a sound budget, we were optimistic.
Yeah. So here we are.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is the best way that was seen to go forward, rather than saying new bigger hard drives or more RAM in the system we have.
He's already upgraded it and worked on it a couple times.
Okay.
And so we really have milked it
Yeah.
as best we can.
Yeah.
And I'm confident that he really is sensitive to costs.
Yeah.
He's sensitive to those issues, and he has tried to get the machine to work for us for a couple of years now.
Okay.
Well, yeah, you
You know,
replace
it's a
it.
pretty sizable expenditure, and if you add cooling and you add all of the new server and everything, I believe, and you know, I verify with our accountant, but I'm pretty confident that we can capitalize that kind of expenditure. So what do you,
Does it have a useful life over 5 years though?
that's what I was kind of wondering. I'm sure the cooling does. I don't know about the server itself.
Okay.
I think from what Joanne was saying is that the servers are typically replaced every 5 years.
So that might actually bring it out of the capital expenditure portion then.
Yeah, that part of it. What's the cooling portion of it, Stephen? How much is that?
Unknown at this point. Vindola has been out to take a look at the project, and they've yet to submit a proposal.
Okay. Yeah, well, so just for computers, we're looking at what?
If we looked at the life 6 years rather than 5 years,
Well, I think we did get 7 out of this one.
so would that, if it was 7 years, would that bring it down to capital?
Well, it's still money, whether, I mean,
Right.
I agree
Yeah.
that is beneficial, but it's still money that,
We haven't,
I
that,
haven't budgeted.
that we haven't budgeted, so.
we need to do this.
So, I have no question that we need to do it. The bigger question that it raises for me is, where else in our budget were we like making it look good? You know, or, you know, like trying to cut or being optimistic, you know, that, you know, we might need to be aware of. So I would just ask everybody to kind of, you guys who did the budget, to really think about that. And if there are other areas where, and of course we know there can be surprises anytime in any area, but
I think that's a good.
this is a pretty big surprise.
It
Like,
is. So I think when Lindsay's on the line, you know, that's
Actually, she's
something.
here now.
She is.
Yeah, Lindsay's here now.
hi Lindsay.
Hi there.
Good morning.
So we have to consider approval of
I
this.
think so, Martin.
Is the server currently down now?
No.
And so it's just what, barely working?
It is operating. There are some problems with it. If it goes down, the cost will go up.
Right.
Because the data that we could lose could be significant.
Oh,
So-
there's no backup?
There is a backup, but from what I understand, that it will cost us more to deal with that mess.
That's usually the case.
Is this, what does this server do?
Well, it stores the network. It's like the brains of the network.
Yeah.
And so it's the center of all of the storage for Cassell's information, so all of the billing. It has all of the information that we have collectively in the district stored on it. And there is a backup that backs up daily.
Right.
There's a fireproof hard drive. Joanne could probably speak to it more effectively than myself. That's her deal. If you'd like to.
And
I'm sorry guys, I didn't mean to cut you off. I wanted to, on the enterprise funds budget, with regard to Cindy's question, one of the things that we did do this year was we set up a reserve, a maintenance reserve. The idea there is to continue to grow that reserve year after year so that when you have unexpected things, you can address them. But this year we budgeted $75,000 in the reserve. That's part of the ending fund balance number, which I think is...
Well, it's all lumped into the transfer to enterprise fund, and I can break that out so that's clear, but that's how we had our budget, is we had a transfer from the general fund to the enterprise fund for just to keep us, you know, with our fund balance. Then we set aside an additional 75 when we budgeted for those see.
And it might be good going forward to just change the presentation so we see the 75.
Yeah, I can do that, no problem.
But that, I think for something like this, where it's unexpected or it wasn't considered in the budget process, that's probably what line item we need to take it from.
So the shelf life of a server is
5 years.
5 years. So once we do this, and we have to do this, then Lindsay and AJ, we have to put that on the books so that it's in the budget 5 years from now, or 6 years from now,
Yep,
right?
part of a long-term capital planning, yes.
Yeah,
Or
sure.
not only long planning. I don't think the computer equipment will necessarily be capitalized, but the cooling equipment, I think we really could, and we need to get estimates on that.
Just curious, what was the clue that the server was?
I think Joanne should probably answer those questions. She
Oh,
works with it on a
Yeah,
daily
let's-
basis. Would you
I'd like to hear that, and I'd like to hear her response a little bit to
Excellent.
Kyle's question, if we could.
Yeah,
I'll
let's
go
do
get
it. You'll give it.
Let me get her. Did you get to Boulder quickly enough?
Yeah,
Did you go to Top Road? Or
the one lady wasn't there, and they dealt with me the next day.
So you had to stay an extra day?
No.
Oh, okay.
They ended up telling me I didn't even need to be there. I got my money back.
I was gonna say, that's when you had to show up, right? Thank you.
Server questions, server woman.
IT person.
Yeah.
Thanks. So my question was, what was the clue to you that the server was getting tired?
Well, it's a long process, actually.
Okay.
Gosh, how long is it? It's well over a year that there's been a hiccup. I call them hiccups. You're working, all of a sudden it stops or something.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so, worked with WSB to do some troubleshooting. We tested the cables, we moved I wasn't sure if it was just in Cassell, number one. We moved the Cassell software over to the front desk PC, so eliminated off the server to see if it was the server or the software, that kind of thing. Anyways, on and off for over a year, and now it's just always something. It just stops working. It's very inefficient. You click on something and it just freezes. The Cassell program just kind of stops, crashes. So we've been doing some Cassell training, and yesterday I asked if any maintenance needed to be done on the software, and it does, like once a month. So we did some of that. And that'll help that piece of it. But the server is just, you can hear it. You can hear it when you go by. Yeah. And the room is, you talked about the room, right?
We talked about cooling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and it's not an efficient or an ideal server room in any kind of way. Normally they're air conditioned. If you walk in there, if you're cold, go in there. They get warm. Yeah.
She's gonna put a lunch
A little sauna, almost a sauna. It's not wet, but so it's not just a random decision all of a sudden. It's been something we've been trying to. Yeah, we've been trying to eliminate all possibilities that it wasn't the server.
Yeah, no, we're good to go with this,
Yeah.
but we just wanted
We
to
just
get
wanted
some
to look back
additional.
around. Did that?
And you had one question.
Well, I just wondered, I don't know WSB Computer Services, but have you guys ever looked into another company just to get another estimate or just to see? I don't know if there is any,
There are probably other companies that we could have come and do the work. One of the challenges there is that we built a familiarity with WSB, so they know our system. So we would
And they're in the
probably,
valley.
yeah, they're in
That's
Alamosa.
the other-
So we would be offsetting, if there were any savings, we'd
Right.
probably be offsetting that with
Pueblo or
maintenance and
Silvas.
travel time. And my experience from WSB is they've never dropped the ball. They are professional and efficient and
Yeah.
very cost sensitive.
Yeah, Harry's
So-
very good. He's very.
Yeah.
Now we've done a remote, so he can do most of his work from.
Which saves on the
Almost
travel
saves on
Oh,
time.
that's great, so he doesn't
Yeah.
have to come in.
And
Their
then you
travel
can-
rate is half of what their service rate is. So they are really sensitive that way, and I think that they're the best. I'm very confident. I don't, we certainly could take a look, but there again, then we have someone else who's not familiar with our system. They are the IT subcontractor that
Yeah.
deals with all of our stuff.
I think
Yeah.
we
I
do.
wouldn't want
honor
to change
that.
that,
Yeah.
yeah.
The disturbing piece for me honestly is to hear that this has been going on for a year and that it wasn't put in the budget.
That's my responsibility, and I should have made AJ more aware of that, and that was my responsibility.
Well, you were also testing various options.
Yeah.
Sure,
And
sure, I
described.
really understand that, but I just think, you know, optimism is a great thing, and I'm really optimistic, but let's all,
Yeah.
you know,
Let's
let's
be
be
real,
real.
You know, moving forward, we probably should just put it in the budget for every 5 years, that's the.
That's-
Yeah, that's what we were,
that's-
yeah,
oh,
that's-
okay.
yeah, we were actually
Totally.
talking,
And if it's
talking
still
about that.
working well in 5 years.
There's always gonna be something though.
We just-
Technology.
Well, we save it.
Let's
We save it, we put it in reserve.
Yeah, technology wise,
Great.
there's always
Yeah,
something.
I hear you, but thanks a lot.